As the Prime Minister asks, does he stand by his statement, quote, "I know that one of the key reasons Kiwis elected National is because they trusted us to take the tough steps needed to tackle violent crime and make families safer in their home and communities," unquote.
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, and the government has followed through by passing 11 new pieces of legislation, with 3 more introduced, that toughen up on sentences, parole and bail for violent offenders, improve police powers, crack down on gangs and and support crime victims.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Supplementary. To the Minister, how much safer are New Zealand families when the crime statistics released today show that the increase in crime under National is bigger than in any calendar year under the former Labor government, and the violent crime has risen by 9.2%.
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the government has taken seriously the need to get on top of the rising momentum, of violent crime over the last decade. We are backing the police with a wide range of tools which they appreciate and which the public believe will be effective in dealing with that rising momentum of violent crime.
David Garrett.
For the Prime Minister, does the Prime Minister expect the 3 strikes legislation that has now been reported to the House will make a difference to violent crime in New Zealand?
The Honourable Bill English.
Yes, Mr Speaker, that's why the government is supporting that legislation. The 3 strikes legislation will send a very clear message to serious recidivist offenders that they will be dealt with severely. It also makes it less likely that serious recidivist offenders will be able to continue committing crime because they will be locked up.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Prime Minister, which communities are feeling safer now than they were before the election, considering that 10 out of the 12 police districts in New Zealand experienced an increase in crime in 2009, 6 of those on the back of a decrease in crime under the previous Labor government?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, those communities and all communities are looking forward to the benefits of an increase in police numbers, tougher sentences, tighter parole, tighter rules for bail on violent offenders, improved police powers, crack down on gangs and And I must say, all the reports coming, for instance, out of South Auckland are that the higher police numbers and the smarter policing are making that community feel safer.
David Garrett.
To the Prime Minister, has the Prime Minister seen evidence that defining a strike as a conviction plus a qualifying offence would greatly reduce the effect of the 3 strikes policy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, there's been a lot of discussion about the definition of a strike and the definition of offence. The government has supported the general principle that dealing more harshly with serious recidivist offenders will make the community safer because those criminals will be locked up.
Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
If, as Simon Power said, 54 murders in a year was an example of violence running wild, what would he call a massive 25% increase in murders in 2009 under his watch, leading to the highest murder rate in 10 years?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I'm sure Mr Power would regard any increase in the murder rate as completely unacceptable, and that is why he has been the prime driver in this government of passing a series of law changes that are going to give the police more tools and the criminals more consequences to deal with violent crime.
Sir William Seoff.
A supplementary speaker to the Prime Minister. Why did he tell Counties Manukau Police in March that, quote, provisional statistics suggest crime in the region is dropping and, quote, already people in Counties Manukau are noticing a change for the better, unquote, when the crime statistics released today show that Counties Manukau had an increase in every category of crime in 2009, in many cases on the back of decreases the year before?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that member would know as well as anyone That member would know as well as anyone that both the previous government and the current government have put considerable effort and resource into reducing crime in South Auckland, and our discussions with the police have been to the effect that they believe the increase in police numbers and the changes in their methods of policing, alongside the work done under the previous government with respect to youth gangs, is going to have a significant impact on crime in South Auckland.
Supplementary.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Can the Prime Minister now tell us exactly when he will deliver on his promised priority to make our streets safer for Kiwis, rather than using every excuse he can find, as he and his Police Minister have done today, as an excuse for inaction and not delivering?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister has delivered on his promises. The government has passed 11 new laws, with 3 more to come, that toughen up on sentences, parole and bail, increase police numbers, improve police powers and crack down on gangs and P. The people who have been making excuses are the Labor Party, who haven't supported all the measures that are needed to get on top of the rising momentum of violent crime.
Supplementary.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Prime Minister, why doesn't he honour his promise and be accountable for the explosion in violent crime in New Zealand under his watch, rather than making excuses, bearing in mind that he said before the election, and I quote, "Clark may offer excuses, but I say this, not on my watch. National will do better at preventing crime, and we will do better at cracking down on criminals," unquote.
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, and that is exactly what he has done.
Question number 4, Sandra Gowdy.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.